A combined team of Ghana Neighborhood Watch personnel from Adaba and Umulokpa in Uzo-Uwani Local Government Area of Enugu State, in collaboration with the Nigerian police, have rescued 9 kidnapped victims after engaging the abductors in a gun duel. The 9 persons were kidnapped along Amagu-Umulokpa Road on Wednesday, 21st of May 2025 at about 6:30 p.m. by gunmen. But through the efforts of the joint local security operatives from Adaba-Umulokpa in collaboration with the DPO in Oji River and the area commander Ezago region, the victims were, however, rescued between Okpata and Ovuru while the criminals were trying to cross them through Anambra Forest. Reports according to the SPA on the communication and strategy to the local government chairman of Uzo-Uwani Local Government, Solomon Gui, indicated that the victims were on their way from Umulokpa Adaba to Enugu after a K market when the kidnappers shot at their bus, conveying them. Upon the breaking of the unfortunate incident on Wednesday evening, the Joint Neighborhood Watch groups mobilized its operatives into the forest along that axis for their possible rescue and the arrest of the perpetrators. When they couldn't find the abductors on Wednesday evening, they remobilized on Thursday morning, 22nd of May, 2025, alongside 2 top police officers who joined in the search exercise. The operations eventually paid off as the operatives from Adaba engaged them from their axis, while the operatives from Umulokpa angle alongside the police closed in on them from the other end in a gun duel, which forced them to escape with gunshot injuries, leaving the victims behind. Efforts are ongoing to ensure the arrest of these miscreants and other criminal elements in the local government area, we said. However, the rescued victims are currently cooling off at Adaba while the trail of the fleeing kidnappers have continued. Meanwhile, the security personnel involved in the operation recovered cash and other items abandoned by the abductors while escaping for their life. Those rescued victims included 3 boys and 6 women, including a pregnant woman. While we commend the executive chairman of the Uzo-Uwani Local Government Area, Barrister Chijoke Ezugu, for providing necessary logistics and welfare for the Neighborhood Watch operatives, we also commend the gallantry of the combined operations of Adaba-Umulokpa Neighborhood Watch, as well as the police authorities involved, for prioritizing the maximum safety of the people of our local government area, he concluded. Police operatives of Enugu State Command attached to Ozala Division in collaboration with Neighborhood Watch personnel on May 11th, 2025 at about 3 p.m. smashed an armed robbery and mini truck snatching syndicate. One male suspect, Chinedu Onwuka, age 35, was arrested. The operatives also rescued a male victim who had been tied to a tree in the bush and recovered his Daihatsu hijacked mini truck, locally known as Diana, which the suspect and his fleeing accomplices have stolen at gunpoint. The suspect and his gang had hired the driver to transport bags of sand from the Ubete area of Enugu to Umuatuaboma in Nkanu West Local Government Area. However, along the Umuatuaboma-Obofia Road, they diverted the vehicle into a bush at gunpoint, tied the driver to a tree, and fled with a truck. A prompt response by the operatives led to the arrest of the suspect, while others escaped. During interrogation, the suspect confessed to the crime and admitted to participating in a similar operation the previous month, for which he was paid 90,000 naira as proceeds from the sale of another snatched mini truck. Investigations are ongoing to apprehend the fleeing suspect. The Commissioner of Police, CP Maman Beatrice Giwa, has reaffirmed the command's unwavering resolve to clamp down on unrepentant criminals of his nature. He urges mini truck and other types of truck operators to remain vigilant and cautious about whom they accept conveyance jobs from and their destinations to avoid falling victim to such criminal acts.
Corruption, extortion, harassment or intimidation of citizens will not be tolerated under my watch. Any officer found culpable will face severe disciplinary action. Specifically, I have directed that the extortion of citizens before case documentation and handling must cease immediately, and that officers must refrain from meddling in civil matters, particularly land disputes, and instead explore alternative dispute resolution and restorative justice where applicable. I further warn them against unlawful arrest and prolonged detention without recourse to Western laws. I also emphasize the need for police officers to be emotionally intelligent and to put a human face to their work while coming down hard on unrepentant criminals and violators of the law. Recently, the command received a complaint via X, which is former Twitter, alleging a extortion of 250,000 naira by police officers attached to the distress response call. I immediately directed that the case be investigated and that the officers involved be tried in an courtroom. Once the trial process is concluded and the necessary approval is obtained from the Assistant Inspector General of Police of the team, since one of the team members holds the rank of Inspector of Police, the public will be duly informed of the punishment imposed. I have also ensured the redeployment of several supervisory officers and their subordinates who have conducted themselves unprofessionally to serve as a deterrent to others. I assure the public that I will spare no efforts in instilling discipline within the command and in upholding the ethics and codes that guide the activities of the Nigerian Police Force as a disciplinary institution. However, I seek the continued cooperation and support of all citizens in this regard. To enhance security, we are leveraging the state-of-the-art command and control center and distress call established by the Enugu State Government under His Excellency Dr. Enugu State. These initiatives, including modern technology, will be maximally utilized for effective policing, ammunitions, and cultism. 1. Case of unlawful possession of fire and arrest of suspects. On April 30th, 2025, at about 11 a.m., police operatives of the command attached to the distress response squad while on routine patrol along Uzo-Uwani Road, intercepted a commercial bus bound for Orisha and Anambra State. Upon searching the bag of one of the passengers, named Uzo-Uwani Amadi, aged 28 years, of Amagu-Umulokpa in Afikpo North, local government area of Enugu State, recovered a locally made pistol. The suspect will be arraigned in court upon the conclusion of the ongoing investigation. The second case has to do with arrest of armed robbery suspects and recovery of firearms and ammunition and other exhibits. Following a report of threatening violence and assault, two male suspects, Uzo-Uwani, age 29, and Uzo-Uwani, age 26, were arrested on the 27th of April 2025 at about 3 p.m. by operatives attached to our police division. The search warrant was executed at their residence on Harmony Road, Enugu, which led to the recovery of one locally made pistol and 6 mobile phones. Upon interrogation, the suspects confessed to be members of an armed robbery gang and led operatives in a bush at Umochigolike, Enugu, where a cut-to-size single barrel gun and 2 rounds of 7.62 by 39 mm ammunition were recovered. Further investigation is ongoing to apprehend their accomplices and recover additional exhibits. The third case is a case of arrest of notorious cultists and armed robbery suspects and recovery of firearm and ammunition. Following a report of armed robbery and cultism, operatives attached to the sugar sector of the anti-cult tactical squad on April 24, 2025, arrested one Asogwa Kingsley, aka Sylvia, age 21, a Beretta pistol loaded with 5 live rounds of ammunition, and an unregistered black Lexus car were recovered, along with a studio speaker and power bank stolen from the victim. The suspect confessed to the crime and identified himself as the leader of the Neo-Black Movement of Africa, otherwise known as the Black Axe. He is assisting in our investigation. The fourth case has to do with the case of arrest of suspects for conspiracy, armed robbery, murder, and recovery of G3 assault rifle. Police operatives also attached to anti-cultism tactical squad on April 23, 2025 at about 4:45 p.m. recovered a G3 assault rifle with an empty magazine from 5 male suspects involved in a case of conspiracy, armed robbery, and murder. The suspects include 1 Sunday Abroni, aka Legba, age 32. Ofobike Promise Goji, aka Ofo, age 32. Ebubechukwu Ikweme, aka Achike, age 27. Chukwuebuka Obodo, age 33. Chinedu Emmanuel Eze, age 23. And Okechukwu Igwe, aka Tiana, age 43. Abroni, Igoji, and Ikweme were initially arrested for incredible information. However, their confessional statements led to further arrest of Eze and Igwe respectively, and the recovery of the firearm. The suspects will be arraigned in court once our investigations are concluded. The fifth case has to do with arrest of an armed robbery and cultism suspect and recovery of firearms and other weapons. Acting on a distress call reported that about an armed robbery incident along the Enugu Expressway. Operatives of the anti-cult tactical squad promptly responded and arrested one Chukwuebuka Okafor, age 38, where the following items were recovered. 1. A cut-to-size single barrel gun. 2. 1 expanded cartridge. 3. 1 pickaxe. 4. 1 cutlass and 1 walkie-talkie. The suspect confessed to be a member of the Supreme Vikings Confraternity and is assisting in the investigation of our case towards enabling us to arrest his accomplices. The sixth case is a case of arrest of suspects for conspiracy, unlawful possession of ammunition, cultism, and recovery of exhibits. Following a tip-off about suspected cultist activities in Enugu South Local Government Area, operatives of the anti-cult tactical squad, they also arrested the following male suspect with him while others fled. 1. Uzo-Uwani, age 25, Ugu Theophilus, age 45, and Okafor Ogosi, age 30. They confessed to be members of the Black Axe Confraternity. One locally fabricated double barrel bomb and 1 expended and 14 live cartridges were recovered from them. The suspects have been arraigned in court and remanded in the Correctional Custodial Center and trafficking, and the rescue of child and arrest of suspects. Acting on intelligence, operating for our anti-kidnapping squad to rescue a 4-year-old girl in Abia State on the 25th of March 2025. She was stolen on March 15, 2025 by her family's neighbor, one Esther Dejo, age 55, who was later arrested in Enugu State on March 23, 2025. Her accomplice, Onyinye Benjamin, age 62, was also arrested in Abia State. Esther Adejo had rented an apartment in the same compound as the victim's parents in Ede-Obala, in Uzo-Uwani Local Government Area, and kidnapped the child. Barely 2 weeks later, the suspects confessed and the case has been charged to court. So here, I have summary of the achievements which will be made known to you. The total number of suspects were arrested during my assumption of duty. That's in the past 2 months. I've arrested a total of 228 suspects, which includes number of suspects arrested for armed robbery 42, number of suspects arrested for kidnapping 33, number of suspects arrested for murder 12, number of suspects arrested for unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition 6, total number of suspects arrested for rape and defilement 5, total number of suspects arrested for cultism and associated crimes 44, total number of suspects arrested for varieties of crimes including stealing, breaking of fences, vandalism, and other crimes 149. Total number of persons we have rescued and the recoveries were made. Total number of 36 kidnapped victims have been successfully rescued, while a total of 44 firearms of different calibers have been recovered, including a G3 assault rifle. The total number of ammunition of different calibers recovered, 173. Total number of vehicular SUVs recovered, 20. In conclusion, gentlemen of the press, these brief descriptions of some of our modest operational successes are intended to provide insight into our unwavering efforts to combat crime in Enugu State. Despite the existing challenges, we remain committed to ensuring the state remains safe, secure, and peaceful for citizens, visitors, and investors to continue performing their lawful businesses. As I have repeatedly emphasized, the support and cooperation of all members of society remains paramount. Therefore, I urge all and sundry to continue to be law-abiding, vigilant, and promptly report criminals and their activities to the police and other relevant law enforcement agencies. I want to thank you for your time and attention, and God bless you. So, rescue of a female victim that was held captive for almost 1 year, and the arrest of the suspects. Also relying on intelligence, operatives of the Command Octopus Tactical Squad on April 8, 2025 at about 7:30 p.m. rescued a 17-year-old female victim kidnapped since August 6, 2024. The operation also led to the arrest of a 45-year-old male suspect involved in the crime, one Chidioke Paul of Amagu-Umulokpa in Kano, West Local Government Area. The suspect and his gang had initially attempted to kidnap the victim's guardian, but abducted a victim instead of the victim. Instead, due to the guardian's age and ill health, he collected a ransom of 750,000 naira without releasing the victim until her rescue. The suspect confessed to the crime and is assisting with ongoing investigation. We have another case of arrest of the kidnapping suspect. On 2nd April 2024, acting on intelligence, operatives of the anti-kidnapping squad arrested a male suspect named Amagu-Umulokpa, aged 30 years, in Ajakuta in Kogi State. The suspect confessed to being part of the kidnapping gang that operated along Uzo-Uwani Local Road and behind Adoration Ground MN. He's assisting us in our ongoing operation investigation, which is aimed at apprehending his gang members and recovering evidence. I have another case of conspiracy, kidnapping, armed robbery, arrest of suspects, and recovery of firearms and ammunition and other exhibits. We are on the 3rd of April 2025. Operatives of the anti-court tactical squad arrested the following suspects based on intelligence. 1. Uzo-Uwani alias Naira, aged 36 years. Godwin alias Shak, aged 46 years. Ugu Moses, aged 47. Mwabwezi and Godwin were arrested in Suka, where Ugu was arrested in Onitsha, Anambra State. The suspects kidnapped a male victim on November 27, 2024 at about 9 p.m. in Suka using his Toyota Corolla car. They took him to an unknown location and obtained a ransom of 1,077,000 and made away with his car and mobile phones. When we arrested the suspects, we recovered the following exhibits: one locally made pump action gun, 3 locally made guns, 5 live cartridges, 2.9 mm caliber rounds, 1 black Yamaha motorcycle, 1 money-point POS machine, 4 mobile phones, 3 pairs of military uniforms, 1 neighborhood watch uniform, 1 police training manual, 2 pairs of hand gloves, 1 set of knee and elbow guards, and then 1 pepper spray. I will now delve into cases of armed robbery, unlawful possession of firearms. Suspects arrested for various offenses, including kidnapping, armed robbery, rape, and defilement, child trafficking, stealing, unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition, vandalism, cultism, drug trafficking, and other related crimes. Note that many of the cases have been charged to court, and the suspects involved remanded in the Nigerian Correctional Custodian Centers. Others will similarly be charged to court once investigations are concluded. I will now give you a brief description of some of the cases. 1. Rescue of a kidnapped couple and arrest of suspects. Acting on credible information, police operatives from the Umumba Division, with active support from law-abiding citizens, rescued a kidnapped husband and wife on 6th of May 2025 at about 5:35 p.m. The victims were rescued in a forest in Obinofia in Biono community, Local Government Area. The citizen-assisted operation also led to the arrest of 2 male suspects, namely Amagu-Umulokpa, aged 28 years,